You can't get clients without proof. You can't get proof without clients. So you do nothing. You learn more, you watch another YouTube video, you take another course, you tell yourself you will start once you have a case study. Once you have a portfolio, once you feel ready. That moment never comes. I waited for it too. I spent months waiting for it, sitting in my apartment, watching tutorials, taking notes, telling myself that tomorrow I'd reach out to a client. Tomorrow I'd send that email, but everyone knows that. Tomorrow never showed up, but the bills did. And then I did something that most people would call reckless, maybe even stupid. 4 years ago, I broke this loop. Not by getting better, not by learning more, by making one decision that felt completely backwards. I'm going to tell you exactly what the decision was. I'm also going to tell you about a guy named Daniel who was washing dishes in Vancouver 3 months before. He was making $30,000. Same decision, same loop breaker. But before I get to that, I need you to understand the trap you are in. Because if you don't see the trap clearly, the escape route won't make sense. Let me name the loop so you can spot it in your own life. You want to sell an AI service, maybe automation, maybe content systems, maybe custom dashboards for small businesses, or chatbots, or workflow tools. Doesn't matter what the service is. You have the skill, or at least you are building it, but you have 0 clients, 0 portfolio, 0 testimonial. So you think, I need proof first. I need to build something. I need a case study. I need something to show people before I ask them for money. But the problem, you can't get a case study without a client, and you can't get a client without a case study. That's the proof paradox. And it keeps 98% of AI freelancers stuck at 0. Not because they lack ability, because the loop is self-reinforcing. Each side of equation points to the other as a prerequisite. Can't sell without proof, can't get proof without client, learn more, feel busy but stay broke, do nothing. So you loop. You take another course, watch another tutorial, build another side project that nobody asked for. You stay busy, you stay broke, and the worst part is you feel like you're making progress because you're exhausted at the end of the day. You put in the hours, you did the work, but the work produced nothing the market could see. And one of my students, Rifa, told me something that hit hard. He said, I spent over $10,500 on courses and made $0. $10,500 on learning, not $1 earned. And Rifa is not lazy. This guy showed up every day. He did the assignments, he watched the video, he took notes, he built demo project, he followed the playbooks. He just never talked to the market. Not once, not a single conversation with a real human, being who might pay him money for something. He was stuck in the loop, believing the next course would finally give him enough proof, enough confidence, enough skill to start selling. Every course promised that. None of them delivered it, because no course can give you proof. Only a client can give you proof. And Rifa never got a client because he was always preparing to get one. I asked him, how many outreach messages have you sent total in your entire life? The answer was 0. 10,500 spent, 0 messages sent. That's what proof paradox does to people. It makes preparation feels like progress. Here's what nobody on YouTube will tell you. Every hour you spend learning AI is an hour you're not in the market. And the market is where the money lives. Not in tutorials, not in prompts, not in the next workflow breakdown. I need to be blunt about this because I see it everywhere. The AI workflow you are learning right now will be a button on someone's SaaS dashboard within 60 days. That's not a prediction. That's a pattern. I've watched it happen over and over. Some workflow goes viral. Everyone learns it. 3 months later, a startup ships it as a feature and charges $29 a month. The skill you spend weeks mastering just became a commodity. Skills depreciate every 30 to 90 days. Some tools will automate what you spend 3 weeks learning. That's the reality of working in AI right now. But sending 10 outreach messages today, that compounds, that responses you get, the data you collect about what people actually want, the relationships you start, none of that depreciates. The testimonial from 6 months ago still works today. A client relationship from last year still sends referrals. A case study you built in week 2 still closes deals in month 6. Skill expire, proof doesn't. The proof paradox feels like a character flaw. It feels like you are not confident enough, or not skilled enough, or just not ready. But it's actually a math problem, and math problems have solutions. The loop doesn't break by waiting. It doesn't break by learning more. It doesn't break by building a better portfolio in your bedroom. It breaks by one specific decision, the decision most people refuse to make because it feels backwards. You sell first, then you build. I know someone who had zero skills in the thing he was selling, zero. No portfolio, no proof, no demo, no website, no past work, nothing. He couldn't do the thing. He was offering a service he literally did not know how to perform. He cold emailed every startup he could find, not a few, hundreds, 300 to 400 emails per week. He had one offer, a website built for $29.97. He sent it out with a straight face and basic email. No fancy landing page, no social proof, no testimonials section, just a message explaining what he could do and what it would cost. Someone said yes within a week. And here's the part that changes everything. He didn't know how to deliver it. I didn't know that. He didn't have the skill. He got the yes first. The money came in. And then with real pressure, a real deadline, and a real client waiting, he learned. He figured it out after the wire hit his account. Not before, after. Most people would call that irresponsible. Some of you watching right now are uncomfortable with that. You're thinking, what if he couldn't deliver? What if the client was angry? What if it all fell apart? Fair questions, reasonable questions, also the exact questions that keep you stuck at zero. I call those explanation mode questions. They sound smart, they feel responsible, but they are not strategic thinking. They are fear wearing a lab coat. The execution mode question is different. It's simple. It's one sentence. What happens if I try? What happened is this. He delivered the website. It wasn't perfect, it worked. The client was happy enough to pay and to refer him to other people. So he kept going. Same approach, same template, sell first, figure it out after. He picked up project after project, 5, then 10, then 30 plus enterprise project. Samsung and LG designer training contracts for corporate teams, companies with real budgets and real expectations. At peak month, $30,000 in revenue from a person who couldn't write a line of code when he sent that first email. And that person was me. I sold a $29.97 website before I knew HTML, Webflow. I needed to really hear that. I didn't know how to build the thing I was selling. I didn't know what a div tag was. I didn't know CSS. I couldn't have built a basic landing page if you gave me a week. I sold it first, then I figured it out. Stayed up until 3 a.m. for a week straight. Googled everything, asked everyone I could find, made it work. The client didn't care about my learning curve. They didn't ask what courses I'd taken or how many years of experience I had. They care about whether the website worked on Tuesday. And I did. Because when there's real money on the line and a real person waiting for a result, you learn fast. Way faster than any course can teach you. Desperation is the best teacher I've ever had. Most of you watching this are doing exactly opposite. You are learning first, building first, perfecting your portfolio before a single human being has asked to see it. You are waiting until you feel ready. That feelings doesn't exist. I've been doing this for years. I've sold hundreds of projects. I have a proof everywhere. And I still don't feel ready before I sell something new. Still, the ready feeling is a lie. It's your brain's way of keeping you in the safe zone, which is also the zero revenue zone. And here's the thing about proof that most people get backwards. You think you need proof before you start, but proof is byproduct of starting. You don't get a case study by preparing. You get a case study by doing the project. You don't get a testimonial by building a portfolio. You get a testimonial by delivering results to a real person. A perfect product without a hypothesis behind it is worthless. You built something beautiful. For who? Based on what data? In response to what market signal? If no one asks for it, it's a hobby project. It's art. That's fine, but don't confuse it with a business. I had nothing, no skill, no proof, no confidence, and no website, no brand, and no audience. What I had was a willingness to look stupid for 1 week in exchanging for data, real data, from a real market. And the data became my first $29.97, which became my next 30 projects, which became AI educator for Samsung and LG designers. The paradox breaks when you flip the order. Sell first, build after. Let the market tell you what to build. Let a real client with a real deadline teach you faster than any YouTube playlist ever could. I know this sounds backwards. It's backwards. That's why it works. Everyone else is doing it the right way, which produces 0 clients and a beautiful portfolio nobody ever sees. I'll be honest about something. I want to make a lot of money for this. I'm not going to dress that up. And I've come to believe that the only way to do that for real, not just for a year, is to produce clients who actually get results. Those aren't the two separate goals. They are the same goal. The people I've seen fail long term are the ones who sold the feeling or progress. I'm trying to sell actual progress. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Chris, that's you. You're clearly a salesperson. I can't just cold email strangers and charge $3,000 with 0 proof. I don't have that personality. Fine, I hear you. And I actually agree with part of that objection. Not everyone can start by charging $3,000 to a stranger. I was able to because I'd been cold emailing since I was 22, and rejection didn't bother me anymore. That took years to build. But there's another path. And honestly, for most people starting from 0, this path works better than what I did. It's more controlled, lower risk, and it produces proof faster. And this is my most lovable offer building strategy. And most people ignore it completely, not because it's complicated, because their ego gets in the way. The free pilot offer. Here's how it works. Your first project is free or close to free. You charge it $200, maybe $300, enough that the client takes it seriously. Not so much that they need to think twice about saying yes. You do real work, not fake work, not a sample. 3 to 5 days of actual delivery. You treat it like a paid engagement because it is one. You are just getting paid in something more valuable than cash right now. You're getting paid in proof. And let me walk you through the timeline. You start the project, you deliver in 3 to 5 days. Then you give them a real result, something they can use, something that actually changes their day-to-day. On day 10, you ask for a testimonial. And this is where most people mess up. They ask for a text testimonial, a paragraph, maybe a screenshot. That's okay. It's better than nothing. But video testimonials converts at 2.7 times the rate of text. A 30 seconds video of a real client saying this person delivered, I'd recommend them, is worth more than any portfolio you could spend 6 months building in Figma. So ask for a video. It feels awkward. Ask anyway. Most people will say yes because you just gave them real value. They want to help you. You just have to ask. And day 14, the pilot ends. Now you have a conversation about what's next. And this time, you're not selling from 0. You're selling from proof. You have a testimonial. You have a real deliverable you can reference. You have data about what worked and what the client needs next. The conversation is completely different. The pricing evolution is predictable. I've seen it play out dozens of times. Stage 1, 200 to 300. That's your pilot. You're buying proof. Stage 2, 500 to 1,000. First real paid project, still discounted. You're building momentum and collecting more testimonials. And stage 3, 1,500 to 3,000. Market rate. You have 2 or 3 case studies. You can charge what the work is actually worth. Stage 4, 3,000 plus. Premium pricing. You have 5 or 6 testimonials, repeat clients, referrals coming in. You're not selling anymore. You're selecting. That entire progression can happen in 60 to 90 days. I've watched it happen with my own students multiple times. The people who move through these stages fastest aren't the most talented or the most technical. They are the ones who started the pilot without overthinking it. It starts with the pilot. It starts with the 200 project that your ego doesn't want you to do. And here's why most people refuse to this. Ego, plain and simple. I'm worth more than free. Maybe you are, in theory, but right now, today, this week, your market value is 0. Not because you lack talent, because you have 0 proof. The market doesn't know you exist, and the market doesn't pay based on your self-assignment. It pays based on evidence. You don't have evidence yet. The pilot creates evidence. Think of it like customer acquisition cost. Every business has one. Coca-Cola spends billions on ads to acquire customers. Your customer acquisition cost is a $200 discounted project. That's it. That's the price of getting proof. And here's some SaaS data that backs up this psychology. Companies that requires a credit card for their free trials converts at 49 to 60%. No payment free trial converts at only 18 to 25%. The difference is commitment. When someone puts down even a small amount, they take a relationship seriously. They show up, they engage, they respond to your messages. Your 200 pilot does the same thing. It creates commitment on both sides. The client takes you seriously because they paid something. You take it seriously because there's a real person waiting for a result. It's a 2-week contract that produces proof, data, a testimonial, and if you do good work, a paying client on the other side. The people who skip this step and try to charge full price from day one with 0 testimonials, they spend months in proof paradox, sending proposals that get ignored, wondering why nobody replies. The answer is obvious. You have no proof. Why would a stranger trust you? The people who swallow their ego and run on pilot, 2 weeks later, they have a paying client, a video testimonial, and a case study they can use for the next 12 months. It's not complicated math. It's just math most people refuse to do because free feels like losing. It's not losing. It's the fastest path to your first real client. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel lives in Vancouver. When I met him, he was washing dishes at a restaurant, not on the side, not as a part-time gig while he built his AI empire. That was the job. That was the income. He went to the restaurant, he washed dishes, he went home. He had AI skills. He'd been learning for months. He could build things, had ideas too, but 0 clients, 0 portfolio, no case studies, no testimonials, no proof. The classic loop. He knew enough to be dangerous. His word, not mine. But not enough, he believed, to charge money. I want you to picture this because I think it matters. A guy washing dishes, coming home, watching tutorial about AI automation until midnight, building little projects nobody sees, going to sleep, waking up, washing more dishes. Every day, knowing he could do more, knowing the skills were there. But the gap between I can build this and someone will pay me to build this felt impossible to cross. That's the proof paradox in the human form. That's what it looks like, not lazy, not stupid, trapped. Week 1 of the program, Daniel did something most people overthink until it never happens. He locked his offer, he picked a target market, and he started warm outreach. Not cold strangers, not random DMs to people who'd never heard of him. He went to the people who already knew him. His friends, his co-workers at the restaurant, his ex-boss, people who already knew his name and his face and his character. And he reached out and asked about their problems. That's it. No pitch, no deck, no 47-slide presentation about AI automation. Just questions. What's taking up the most time in your business? What do you hate doing every week? What's broken? This is where it gets interesting. And one of those conversations lead to a restaurant owner, someone Daniel already knew from work, who was drowning in tax management, spreadsheets everywhere, manual calculations. The guy was spending hours every week on something that should take minutes. He knew there had to be a better way. He just didn't know what it was. Daniel saw the problem, and he didn't say, let me go learn the perfect tool for 6 months and come back with a proposal. He said, I can't fix this. He didn't know the cursor at the time. He'd never used it, didn't matter. He learned it that week. Not in a course, not in a tutorial playlist. Under pressure, with a real client waiting, he built a simple MVP, a basic tax management tool, nothing fancy. It was functional. It solved the specific problem the restaurant owner described. That's all it needed to do. He delivered, it worked. The restaurant owner used it the next day, saved hours that week, got paid $2,400 for his first project. $2,400 washing dishes 1 month, paid AI developer the next. Think about how fast that happened. Not 6 months of portfolio building, not 3 months of courses, 1 week of warm outreach, 1 conversation about a real problem, 1 week of learning a new tool under pressure, 1 deliver. Not because he had the perfect skill set, Not because he spent another 3 months policing a portfolio website, because he found a real problem from someone he already knew, used what he could learn in a week, and delivered something that worked. This is the part I need you understand. The skill gap Daniel was afraid of didn't matter. He closed it in a week because he had a real reason to close it. Not curiosity, necessity. A client was waiting. That changes the speed at which you learn. I walk through this entire system step by step. At Friday's live training, the execution protocol, the 5 numbers diagnostic, the free pilot offer, how to build your message spine, the 4-week sprint structure that Daniels used, all of it. You will build your own offer before the session ends. Not learning about it, build it. You will leave with something you can send to your first 10 contacts that same day. Free, no replay. If you miss it, it's gone. And I want to say one more thing before you click away. This is a serious program, not a content product, not something I put together to have another offer in my funnel. I built it because I watched too many people in FutureFlow finish every module and do nothing with it. That number still bothers me. This is me trying to fix that for real. You are going to close this video and a voice in your head is going to say, I will do it later. I will sign up tomorrow. I will start reaching out next week. That voice is the proof paradox talking. That voice has been running your business or your lack of one for months, maybe years. Daniel ignored that voice. He sent one message. Look where he is now. The loop breaks the moment you do something. Not the moment you learn something. The moment you do something. Link in description. I will see you Friday.